Welcome to the Self Love Uncensored Podcast. We are your hosts. I am Vanessa McWilliams.
And I'm Amanda Wozni.
And we are self-proclaimed experts in all things self-love.
Here you'll find uncensored discussions about life, living unapologetically, and becoming our best selves. Over the last 2 episodes, we talked about our stories and who we are. And now we get to dive into all the self-love topics that we are so excited to talk about. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome. So exciting.
Yes.
We have to laugh. We're so bad at we just had this conversation about what we're going to talk about today. And we started talking about some really good topics and some really good things we're going to kind of cover today. But both of us were like, we have to stop talking. We have to hit record because we're already halfway into having such a great conversation.
We're missing so much gold. We need to make sure we say it again.
Right? I know.
Yes.
So now it's going to feel like we're repeating ourselves. It's going to be so good. But I'm so excited. As I was saying to Amanda earlier, I'm so excited to have this conversation today because I think, I think I can speak for us both that we've noticed a really big trend in the body positivity movement that's been happening over the last couple of years that I think that the body positivity movement, the self-love movement and everything that kind of encompasses that, there's this big pendulum, I guess, of people that are either one way to the right or one way to the left. And there's kind of this blurred, there's this becoming of blurring. I don't even know how to say it, like of just what self-love looks like and what body positivity looks like. And I think that it's so good to have this conversation today about what for us it truly looks like, because as we were talking earlier, there's lots of people who swing far to, one side and say like, I love who I am. I don't give a shit. I don't have to change my body. I don't have to work on it. I don't have to do any of the things. And then there's people on the other, far other side that are like, no, my body's not good enough until I do this, and are constantly trying to get to a level of self-love that, isn't attainable only because there's, an invisible standard there within the beauty industry and beauty standards and stuff. And so I think it's really good to have this conversation about like, what does self-love truly mean to the two of us, because we're both on very different journeys and self-love looks totally different for the both of us. And that no matter where you are in your self-love journey and no matter what that looks like for you, it's valued and it's worthy no matter what. And so I think having this conversation is going to be so good. So good. Because we don't agree on everything. Like we're not we're very good friends, but like we're not like two of a kind at all. We have totally opposing ideas on lots of different things. But to come here and have such a safe conversation, I think is going to be so good.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the problem that I see with it, so this kind of sparked from a post that I saw on Instagram the other day that really rung true for me from a coach that I follow and admire. And I was like, we need to talk about this, was that there's, for so long, it's been like the shaming of the fat people, the overweight people, the unhealthy people, and even on the other side, like the anorexic and the people that struggle with their bodies on the smaller side of the scale, right? Mm-hmm. The shame tied to that. But now it seems like this body positivity thing has gone so far the other direction that if you want to change a single fucking thing about your body, now you're the one that should be ashamed of yourself. Yeah. Right? Like, it's like, no, you don't need to change for anything. Well, no, I want to fucking change for me. You don't get to freaking tell me that I don't need to change. It's not your position. And it's really harmful on both sides for people to have that message. It's extremely harmful. And it's like, nobody should get shamed for anything. If you are big and you love being big and you're fine with being big, well, whatever. Like, doesn't bother me. Do whatever you want to do. But if I am big and I don't want to be big anymore, and I want to be really fit and look really good and be really strong, there's no reason why I can't.
Yes. And there shouldn't be shame attached to it.
No, there shouldn't be for anything. And that's where the problem is that the other side got shamed for so long that now they feel righteous in shaming the people that want to change because they don't agree with their viewpoint anymore. And that's not right.
No.
I think body positivity needs to include everybody with a body that's doing whatever the fuck they want with it. Like,
yes. Yeah. And I completely agree. I think like, even for myself, I'm somebody who grew up dieting. I think every person I can't speak of course for everybody, but I think most people at one point in their life or another have tried dieting, and
especially women. Yep.
Yes. And for me, it's like, I still get stuck in that cycle of like, I think that I have great self-confidence. I think that I have great self-love. I do still struggle every single day, in some capacity or another. And even myself, like I drink all my water. I try and move my body as much as I can. I work out as, best I can. I haven't worked out in over a week now just because of the craziness of the week coming up for me. But like, for me, I almost feel ashamed that, I'm a speaker and I'm a coach, and I do promote body positivity, and I do promote like, love who you are exactly as you are right now. You don't need to change anything about yourself. But with that also comes that if you do want to change something about yourself, that's completely okay. Right. Yeah. But even there, it's like, there's this blurring that I'm seeing as well, that for myself, included, that I don't feel sometimes safe to be able to put on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, that I am watching what I'm eating, and I am choosing a salad over a cheeseburger more often than not now, because I do want my body not necessarily to look different, but just to be healthier, because I want to be around longer for my children. It has nothing to do with the way that my meat suit looks in a bathing suit. Yeah. Right? It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with, I need to nourish the meat suit that I've been given good enough so that I'm here long enough to watch my grandchildren grow up. And I'm here long enough to be able to support the people that I love the longest that I can. And I think that that does carry some shame too, because of course, as soon as you get into talking about eating healthier and consuming less and putting more of an energy output more, then all of a sudden it goes to dieting. Yeah. And I think that in itself is even such a complex conversation, because just because you're watching what you eat and you're moving your body more, that will result in weight loss, of course, because that's just biology. That's just what happens when you eat less calories and move your body more. But I think that it's really tough right now to be able to say that you are being careful with what you put in your pie hole, and you are moving your body more, because all of a sudden then it does get put into that dieting category. And I think that dieting is okay. Like, it is okay to an extent. I think that this is a whole other thing, right? Like, don't be eating 1,200 calories a day because a diet app tells you it's okay. Right.
We also, like, diet is one of those things that has such a negative connotation. Like, the word diet doesn't mean restrict or eat less or eliminate groups. Like, diet literally just talks about like the nutrients that go into your mouth and nourish your body. So having a healthy diet is a thing, right? Like, diet doesn't need to be a negative thing. Diet, people automatically think, oh, I gotta eat less. I'm eating smaller portions. I can't have carbs. I can't have fats. I can't whatever. And it drives me fucking bananas, because diet itself is not a bad word. Diet has been like demonized in marketing, especially to women. And it's, you're right. Like, I'll tell you a story about myself. And I posted a picture after I had lost about 70 pounds, a side-by-side picture that I was really proud of. And then I watched people that are very near and dear to me post passive aggressive stuff very shortly after about how negative before and afters are and how harmful they are to other people. And it's like, first of all, if you have a problem with it, you could talk to me. Second of all, I'm fucking proud of the work that I put in, and I'll be damned if I'm going to not promote that. And like, I use social media more for myself as like almost like an online journal, like a time capsule of what's going on. I don't post for other people per se. I post for myself.
Totally.
And like, you put in that kind of work, and I wanted to post it on there, and it really pissed me off to have people that I thought were in my corner posting stuff like that about how negative and harmful before and after. No, it's a realistic and truthful capture of what I used to be. And it's like a physical representation of all the work that I put in over 3 years of moving my body and eating well and taking care of myself and loving myself. And then you're going to shame me for it? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, you shamed me when I was fat. Now you're shaming me because I posted a before and after when I feel great and look great. Like, holy man.
Well, and it's funny that you bring this up, because I've seen so many before and after photos. And I think the thing that bothers me about them is just what people attach to them. So for instance, like, I do totally understand that it's like, it's a visual representation of where you were and where you are. And I think that anybody can post a before and an after picture, whether there's been a transformation in your physical body or not, because I think, like, I posted one about 6 months ago, and it was me with a wig on and me without a wig on. And my physical body had not changed other than just how I showed up in the world. And like, the caption that I had put with that one said something about maybe the real glow up is how we undo the learning that we've learned growing up, and how we truly think about ourselves, right? But encompassing that is also how your body changes, and how you think about how your body is worthy, and how you think of your body as valuable, right? Like, and when I look at your before and after pictures, like, I do see the physical difference in you, because that's what the picture is. But for me as a coach, I look at that picture and I think, holy shit, look at all of the hard work and look at all of the mental work that you did that resulted in that body.
Yeah.
Right. Like, the weight loss is not the transformation. The weight loss is your fucking brain.
Yeah.
The weight loss,
well, it's all part of it. It should all be celebrated.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think if we only limit it to your physical body transforming, that we're doing ourselves a huge injustice, because it is so much more than just the physical body. It's your body representing all of the hard work and all of the things that you decided to say no to, all of the decisions you made, all of the times that you thought, I don't want to go for a walk in -50, but I'm fucking doing it because I told myself I would. And then having these breakthrough aha moments for yourself, and how strong you are. Like, those before and afters encompass so much more than just your physical meat suit, right? And I think that that's where the transformation really truly lives. And then your physical body is just the embodiment of what we actually see, which is the most beautiful thing, right? So I totally agree.
And it's the result that we can't control. But at the same time, it's just, you can't, like, those things are worthy of celebrating, even if it's somebody could not lose any weight and have those transformations just through taking care of themselves with good food and exercise and reading and water and being in the sunshine, all that kind of stuff, right? Like, all the habits that we have. But in the same breath, if it involves somebody's body drastically changing along with the work, that doesn't inherently make it a bad fucking thing. And they shouldn't not have to do it because it makes you uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
and if you do all the things, like, so I know, I'm looking at you.
So,
like, I know.
So angry. Like, it makes me more angry just knowing the people that posted that stuff and how close they are to me. And it just pisses me off. Like, if you're not happy, whatever, don't comment on it. Don't talk about it, but you don't need to passively aggressively attack and say that it's toxic and that it's hurting other people. If it's hurting other people, it's hitting a nerve in them because there's something in their life that they want to change, that they see that I have changed, and they struggle to do it. And I've been there. I've looked at all that stuff, through a lens of jealousy. But once you get there and you do the work, you understand why those people want to celebrate that kind of stuff, whether it involves physical transformation or not. Mine just happened to.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Is when we touch on that, is like, when we look at the two of our different journeys, like, you've had a massive physical transformation, which is amazing. And we've both done quite a bit of the same work on ourselves, just through the program that we teach and the program that we've, that's helped us change our lives. And when we come back to like myself, for instance, I do all the same things other than you are like a hardcore fitness, like CrossFit, you lift a lot of weight and I do not. I lift my 8-pound dumbbells and I am happy with that. My 10 pounders are my challenge days, right? And my body hasn't physically changed in a sense of like being able to put a before and after. But like I said, my before and after is totally different. Like my before and after is wearing a wig versus not wearing a wig. And so, you know, even that physical transformation is a before and after. But when it comes to like weight loss, to me, it doesn't matter. Like I don't judge or base my, you know, how far I've come or whatever because of my weight loss. I've gained weight in quarantine. I think a lot of us have, and that's just an emotional response and, you know, our stress and hormones in response to living in a pandemic for what are we on a year now, which was supposed to be a 2-week quarantine. Like it just, we're in such uncertain times right now. And that's the way our bodies are naturally, biology is supposed to happen. But when I look at like my before and afters, I'm heavier than I would, you know, my before I'm skinnier, which doesn't matter, but just for sake of trying to paint a picture, I'm skinnier in my befores and I'm wearing a wig. I'm heavier in my afters, but I'm truly who I am, right? And so I think just being on your own journey is going to look different. And I think that we have to take away, like you said, we have to take away the connotation of like how much emphasis we put on just the physical body transformation, right? Like if it does trigger something in you, seeing somebody post a before and after picture, it really isn't anything to do with that person posting the picture. That's when you have to think to yourself, and we do this work ourselves. Anytime we ever see something online that triggers us, there's information there. Like that is a signal for us. And I think maybe it's just because we've done the work, or I'm speaking for the both of us, but maybe I should just speak for myself, that if I do find something online that triggers me and I think like I start comparing, or it makes me mad, or I don't agree with it, I shut my fucking clam hole, because I don't have any, it's not my body, it's not my journey. I don't have any warrant, any nothing to be able to say anything about someone else's body. But I think that for me, it's such an awesome moment to actually dig deep and figure out, why is that triggering me? Like what is happening in my life right now that's creating an emotional response for me, that I feel like I need to go on and say something. And I don't ever comment on, I try hard, I'm not perfect, I try really hard not to comment on people's bodies unless it is a celebratory post like the one you posted. I would go on there and be like, holy fuck, Amanda, like look how amazing you are, like you did that thing. Congratulations, I'm really proud of you. But for me, like I said, I don't see the physical body. I see the mind and soul transformation, which results in the physical body, right? And I think just being able to put the side by side is so brilliant. And that's the thing, if it's done for the right reasons, I think the two of us having this conversation, we really want to like emphasize everyone's on their own journey. There's no judging, there's no shame here. We are a shame-free zone. And we just want to really open people's minds to thinking maybe before they speak, or maybe before saying something to each other and to yourselves, right? Like that's a whole other thing when you're online and you're seeing before and after pictures, and you're, you know, thinking of the body positivity movements and all of these things, is like, what are we thinking about each other, but what are we thinking about ourselves? Like, and what are we saying to ourselves? Because that's so important too. Just trying to figure out your value and where you kind of fit in that. Because we could have a 5-hour conversation about this.
I know, right? Well, and I think it's important to note too that like we all have a tinted lens that we see the world through, right? Based on our own experience. So somebody who has issues with their body being overweight or underweight is going to have more of a focus on those kind of things when they see those kind of posts. And somebody who has, like myself, changed my body can look at people who are doing the work and appreciate like the positive things that are changing in their body, right? Like how their movement improves and how their sleep improves and your relationships improve and your skin clears up and like all that kind of stuff, right? Like all the byproducts, without just saying, holy crap, you lost 15 pounds, Sharon, you look awesome. Like I'm not trying to say that that's the be all and end all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people who aren't interested in making those changes are going to see like the physical changes differently. It might make them uncomfortable because they're not on that journey. Or maybe it's somebody who wants to be on that journey, but struggles to get started with it and is seeing it. And it gives them a very negative feeling to see other people doing the things that they want to do. And then they get that internal dialogue like, well, she can do it. Why can't I do it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then the way that it comes out in the world is nasty comments and stuff like that. And people saying, well, you shouldn't post before and afters because it could hurt somebody's feelings. It's like, well, I'm sorry that it hurts your feelings, but you're right. Like that's your work to do. That has nothing to do with the other person.
Yeah.
You really need to sit in that and figure out with anything, not even just body positivity, but anything that you see online that really freaking pisses you off. It's something in you that's the problem. It's not whatever the other person's done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you nailed it, is that it's not just in the body positivity movement. I think it encompasses everything that we go through in life. There's always going to be people and things and situations that trigger us. And it really just is having, flexing that self-control muscle and learning how to utilize that self-control muscle, and really just, I think figuring out for yourself, like, do I want to live in a reactive state of mind, or do I want to live in like a proactive state of mind? And the way that I think about that is like, I used to be a very reactive person. I used to think the world was out to get me and I could never do anything right. And I just was very reactive. I wasn't intentional with the way that I lived my life. And now that has to be one of the biggest things that I'm proud of just in my own self-love journey, is that I do have the mental restraint now that when I do see something that triggers me, I think to myself, okay, why? Like, what's happening within myself right now? And like, actually, and I've gotten pretty good. There are some things that I know are my triggers and I just try and stay away from them. Which is fine. And I work through them. But like, if I ever get surprised with something, I always do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, where I just think to myself, okay, big deep breath. And I think 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I breathe out. And I just think to myself, is it really worth posting? Is it really worth commenting? Is it really worth engaging in this conversation? You know what I mean? And really being intentional, because I don't want to live my life as a reactive person. I don't want to have, because then I always felt like I was on guard. I always felt like I was waiting for the next thing to come. And that was really, and that was a really detrimental to my own journey, figuring out my self-love and who I truly am. And that's why I intentionally, and it's funny because this is coming up now, that I've had people mention to me in the past that how happy I am pisses them off. And that how happy I live my life is like, I put on this show and it's fake, and like, no one can be as positive and happy as me. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, it's not a show. Like, if I could poop glitter, it would happen. But that's the thing. Like I lived my life from such a reactive state for so long, and I was fucking miserable that I live my life intentionally out of kindness. And it has absolutely transformed the way that I think about myself. But behind that is so much work through value systems and figuring out the limiting beliefs that I had upon myself, and figuring out what truly brings me joy, and being happy and helping people and doing random acts of kindness. Those things bring me immense joy. And the result of it is fucking happiness. Right. So, and that's a whole other conversation that we can have. But I think it really ties into all of this, that when my happiness triggers people, that's not a me problem. That there's something in there that has to do with that person. And I always suggest to people, if you find something that, I'm not sorry if I trigger you, because it's not a me problem, but I invite you to try and sit down and figure out what that trigger is, because maybe there's something in your mind or in your soul that's telling you like, oh, I wish I could be that happy. Like, I wish I could have, I still have shitty things happen to me. Fuck, I've had my fair share in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
We all do.
But it's just, I choose in each moment whether I want to be reactive or whether I want to, be intentional and try and see the good. And I'm definitely not one of those people who believes everything is good. I do believe to an extent everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
That has been challenged the last 5 years. And as we were going through a lot of stuff, I was not positive. I got back into like that, the angry self-hate type feelings. But then I really had to work through, coming back to my center and what's truly important to me. And as, the hard times come and go, it makes such a difference if you can be intentional with how you react to the world. And it all ties into, what we're talking about and how you view yourself and you view other people. And yeah, that little rant, I went way off, but that's okay.
Well, and no, I don't even think it's that far off, because I really think like in your body positivity journey and your self-love journey, the transformation that's happened for you is how you show up in the world and how you show up with true happiness and joy and love. Like that's your transformation, right? And authentic, which I think is probably part of everybody's journey. Whereas my transformation is very much physical, and that's how it shows up in the world. So the same work, the same kind of journey towards self-love, and two totally different changes and two totally different people, right? But doing the same work, which is why this body positivity pendulum thing pisses me off, is because we're all different. We're not all striving for the same thing. We don't all have to love our body and stay stuck with whatever the universe has given us. Like we can put in the work and we can change at any time. You can change mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever you want to do, right? And there needs to be no shame tied to any of it.
And I think that
is what's important.
Yes. And I think too, like you said, if you I'm a true believer that like you stay in your own lane, right? Like I don't judge anybody for what they do with their own bodies, because I don't appreciate being judged for what I do with my own body. And that's just it. Like if you don't ever want to change your body, and you're definitely on that one side where it's like, love who you are, where you are right now. I'm on that side. I'm not way on that side, but I'm on that side because I do truly believe that you are valuable and you are enough and you are worthy exactly as you are right now. But that encompasses taking care of yourself. That encompasses eating healthy and drinking water and moving your body. And I have days, like I said, where I don't do all the things, and it's okay. It comes day to day. I truly don't believe that my value and my worth is going to increase because the number on the scale decreases. Right. Like I said, I am trying to lose weight for myself, only because of the fact that, like I said, I want to be around longer for my children. I want to have a healthier body, have a healthier meat suit. It has nothing to do with what my bathing suit looks like on me. I'll still fucking rock the bathing suit because my worth doesn't change. But the other thing too is, like, if I do all these things and I'm taking care of my body and my body doesn't physically change, that's okay. I'm completely okay with that. Right. And that's just it. I think that where I have a problem with it is exactly how you said, that you either have to love who you are exactly as you are right now and not do any of the work because you're good enough. I don't agree with that. I agree with 50% of it, but you do have to still do the work. You still do have to try and be your best, right? But then when we swing way over to the other side, it's like, you don't have to lose weight. Weight cannot be the thing that you're striving for no other reason but just to look better.
It literally can't be the thing you're striving for, because you can't control your weight.
No.
All you can do is control the actions.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. Like we need to quit, especially as women, focusing on the weight loss. And even it's the same thing. I'll go back to my before and after photo. Like, yes, I had a goal to get smaller. My goal was never specifically to lose X number of pounds by such and such a date or anything like that. But that transformation for me was a byproduct of the actions I was taking, where I was working out 5, 6, 7 days a week. I was choosing healthier foods and less of them. And it's for reasons for me. It wasn't for anybody else. But yeah, like the focus for me wasn't specifically the weight. It still isn't specifically the weight. I still want to get smaller, but it's because there's things that I want to do in my athletic endeavors that require me to be smaller. Either that or I need to be super fucking human strong. And I'm pretty dang close to it, but I'm not that strong.
You are pretty close to it.
Humble brag, but it's true. And I just, like I hate that it's some days it almost even gets hard for me to share with people my goals around that, because so many people are like, oh, but you've already done so good, you should just, and it's like, no, you should just never fucking mind that I want to get smaller. It is my life, it is my body, and if that is my goal, that is okay. Like that's it. And it doesn't matter what your goal is with your body, or if you don't even have a goal with your body. I don't give a crap. But it still requires you to show up in form of self-care. Like you said, you still, you know, if you're 400 pounds, for example, and you're totally cool, never being smaller, fine. I don't care. But don't eat McDonald's 6 times a day and never get off your couch and then sit out there and preach body positivity, because that's not a healthy thing to portray to people. Right. And neither is the other side of the spectrum, where there's people out there that are like, oh, if you're not, you know, a size 6 at 5'2" BMI with your freaking doctor, shit like that, then you're unhealthy, right? Like there's metrics that can fit for everybody wherever your comfort level is, but it still requires self-care. Like the basic self-care principles should apply to all of us.
Absolutely.
They don't change.
I really truly wish that there was no such thing as a body positivity movement, to be totally honest. I think that's
the way the world is, though. Fuck.
I know, right? I really truly wish that, you know, let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya and love on each other and support each other no matter what our journeys are. And I really truly wish that we would come to a place. I know that that's never going to happen just because of the way that things are. But when it comes down to it, like, I think that we just really need to live from a place of being intentional and live from a place of trying to better ourselves, and weight should never have anything to do with it. Like, no. I just, you know, and it encompasses everything about what we look like, right? Like, I don't know. I think that that's just me from growing up being somebody who looks so vastly different from other people. I've always been judged about what I look like. And so I think I just have a little bit more of a jaded look on it. Like I fucking hate when people compliment me on what I look like. I genuinely fucking hate it. Like, it makes my skin crawl if somebody says to me, like, they haven't seen me for a while and they're like, oh, you look like you've lost weight. I'm like, and I start a different conversation, because I'm like, that's not a compliment for me, right? Like I would rather somebody say, like, your eyes are stunning, even though it's a physical thing. I would rather somebody say, like, I don't know, now I'm trying to think of a compliment I love. Anything to do with how, you know, anything to do with how I show up in the world. Like, if someone said to me, you are truly beautiful, or your eyes are stunning, or your hair, or something, the lack of, not even that, but just,
you have the greatest shiny spot on the top of your bald head.
You know what? I do get a compliment that I have the perfect shaped head. And I think that a lot of alopecians, I think we're all just made to be bald because we all have perfect shaped heads. I don't think I've ever met an alopecian who has gangly head.
How many times you see guys that are like, oh, I thought it would be a good idea to shave my head. It's a bad idea. And there's like dents everywhere.
Yeah, I know. I truly believe that I was destined to be bald.
Meanwhile,
I think
yours looks like a perfectly tasty little Cadbury egg or something, right? Like just perfectly shaped.
You gave me such a great idea for a Halloween costume one year. I'm going to dress Cadbury egg. Go. Yeah. Such a great idea. But that's the thing, like it makes my skin crawl when people comment on my weight and my physical body, other than, you know, telling me nice, genuine things like, your eyes are amazing, or, you know, your eyes are so bright, or whatever. But if it comes down to like my weight, I just think to myself, like, my weight and my physical body is the least interesting thing about me. Like,
see, and this is where we're like,
this is totally where the different. Us are different. Yeah.
But whereas my journey has been so physical that, like, those are the things that I appreciate people noticing in me, right? Not necessarily the smaller thing, but it comes back to me. Like, I want people to see me as somebody that fucking shows up and works hard. And a byproduct of showing up at the gym and working hard is that my body's going to get smaller and my body's going to get stronger. My muscles are going to get bigger. And when somebody notices that kind of stuff in me, like that lights me up, because that is my journey. Like that's the path I'm on. And those are the things that I want to be seen for. Yeah. And this is a perfect like dichotomy between you and me that shows people that like, it's totally okay to be on a completely different journey. Put your fucking head down, worry about yourself. Don't worry about anybody else. Right. And when you see people post stuff about themselves in a positive light and they're proud of the work they put in, show up and go ahead and compliment something that is relevant to that human. Yeah. Right. Like I wouldn't go to you. Well, I might go to you only because we're friends and comment something about your, right? Like if I saw you post a video and I noticed your dumbbell was heavier, I'd be like, fuck yeah, Vanessa, I'm so proud of you. Like
you're 12s. Woo!
Yeah. Like I know you're pushing yourself. Like that's great. Right. Yeah. Whereas if somebody saw me at the gym with something really light, they'd be like, are you okay? Like what's going on? Did you hurt yourself? Right. Like genuinely, like I'm not trying to be an ass, but show up with something that's relevant to that person. So for me in my before and after, acknowledge my hard work or my physical changes. But when it comes to something that you post, that's not relevant to you and your journey. Comment like, you're so fucking happy. Like, how do you do it? Like, what's your secret sauce? That's something that's relevant to you. So it's totally okay to make compliments if you know body compliments, because that's kind of the question here. Yeah. If you know that that's something that is relevant and important to that person, and it is to some people and it isn't to others, and that's okay.
Yeah. And see, I think like it comes down to it for me that because I've been judged my entire life for what I look like since I was 9 years old, that even now I talk very openly about at least once or twice a week, I have strangers come up to me and ask me if I'm sick. Because having a bald head equals that you have cancer or that you're sick, right? And I get it all the time. I talk to lots of alopecians who also have to deal with it. And so for me, it's like I've been judged by my appearance since I was 9 years old all the time. Every single fucking day that I walk outside my door, I am judged by somebody. And it's not that I'm judging. It's not a judgment from me onto other people that they're judging me. It's fact. Like you walk anywhere with me and people stare. You walk anywhere with me, people will come up. People come up in front of my children and in front of my husband, in front of my friends when I'm out, and ask me if I'm sick or if I have cancer, or what kind of cancer I have. And so for me, it's like, because I've been judged on my body all my life, I don't equate that with positive anymore. Like I said, I would rather, because I guess people have judged me for so long and haven't taken the time to get to know like how fucking amazing I am. And I'm, humble brag, but I'm not so humble about it. Like the way that I show up in the world is fucking scary. It's really scary for me because I have that whole background of being judged my whole life. So when someone comes down and simplifies me as you look great, like, have you lost weight? I'm like, oh, like, oh no, it just ties right back into like that whole outside appearance. It doesn't fucking matter. Like I'm speaking for myself, like my outward appearance doesn't fucking matter to me. Yeah. Like all the work to overcome everything within the inside, like my physical body is the least interesting thing about me. So don't judge me on it. Right. Like, and that's just it. We have such different journeys,
but so much similarity there too, because you were judged for lack of hair. I was judged for being overweight my whole childhood, right? Like I was overweight when I was a kid, and it just continued and continued and continued. And when you say that how you show up in the world is scary, well, it's fucking scary for me to show up and put out a photo of when I used to weigh over 260 pounds and show people what I look like. Like that was fucking scary. Yeah. And then you add on top of that, the people that clap back with their stupid passive aggressive comments, and you like, you almost want to like retreat and be like, why am I doing this?
I get the same thing. Anytime anybody ever, a lot of strangers will say, people on social media as well, will slide into my DMs and they'll say, oh, my mother has breast cancer, or my sister has this or whatever. And I wanted to, let you know that I'm sending you prayers, or they send me fucking crap about how to grow my hair back and whatever. And it's like, you just, for me, it drives me crazy when I tell people like, I don't have cancer. I'm totally okay. Like there's nothing wrong with me. I have an autoimmune disease. Otherwise I'm totally healthy. And then they come back with the same thing, the clapback. Oh, you must be so grateful that you don't have cancer. Yes, I'm grateful I don't have cancer. Let me put
Thank
that
you
out
for
there.
bringing it
Thank
up.
you for bringing, yes. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But like cancer's affected my family. Cancer's affected my dad twice. You know, like cancer has taken very, very close people to me. You know, it's something that I am very grateful for that I don't have to deal with, but it doesn't minimize everything that I've fucking gone through in my entire life to get to where I am. Like it does not minimize the nights that I'm 10 years old bawling my eyes out because I don't want to go to school because I woke up and half of my head of hair is on my pillow and I cannot control it. You know, it doesn't minimize the intense extreme bullying I went through my entire teenage years to the point of wanting to commit suicide and attempting it. It doesn't minimize any of that. And so that's the same thing. Like, I so wish that we could start as a society, stop looking at people as an outside meat suit and really start looking at how can we look at this person and support this person in their growth on the inside.
Yeah.
Right. Because same thing, like, yes, you could look at me and if you've never met me before, your first instinct or first thought might be, wow, she's fucking beautiful. Like, I'd hope your first instinct to think would be like, wow, she must have some real courage to be able to show up in the world the way that she does in, you know, her authentic self. Wow, that takes courage, right? I would hope that that's the thought and not just go straight to, wow, I wonder what kind of cancer she has. Like, I wish that as a society, we would lift each other up instead of trying to automatically think of comparison things, right? Like,
or just assumptions, like
just assumptions. Thank you.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Like
and that goes back to the body positivity. Like, don't assume that everybody that's fat wants to be skinny. Don't assume that everybody that's skinny wants to gain more weight. Don't assume that everybody that looks the normal way is happy with their body or healthy.
Yes.
That's a really important one because like, especially in my realm of the world, like the athletic side of things. And like, I remember when I first sat down with a coach that I used to work with, and she asked me my goals and I was like, okay, well, I want to compete. I want to be able to do this. I want da, 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 da. And she was like, okay. She's like, but why? So we like dove into the why. And I was like, well, ultimately, like I've been unhealthy for most of my life and I want to be healthy. And she's like, you do realize that the two things that you just said don't go together. Like being an elite athlete, and being healthy don't go hand in hand. Like athletes at the top level of their sports, it's not healthy what they do. Training 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day and eating really, like they do eat restrictive diets, restrictive food groups. We don't want to use the word diet. You know what I mean though?
Yes.
Right. Like they eat specific things. Like they're not having cheat days. They're not having fucking cheeseburgers. Like they're drinking a shit ton of water. They are taking care of themselves for their sport, but that isn't health. Like somebody walking around with a 6-pack is not normal because it's not healthy and it's not sustainable for your average human. Just the same, like you can't take stuff at face value. You cannot look at somebody, even somebody my size. I love it when I go to compete sometimes because people underestimate me because I'm still overweight. Like I still have some body changes to make and they assume that I'm not fit because of it. Well, I'm fucking show up and smoke your ass because you assume that I'm not, but I actually am. Even though on the surface, if you don't know me, you might look at me and be like, well, she's not healthy. Right. And it's the same thing for you. Like, don't just assume because somebody's bald that they have cancer. Like that drives me nuts for you that people would even
I need a TV show. I've said it so many times. I need a TV show for some of the shit that people say to me.
But like, even if you wonder, why do you need to say it out loud? Why do you need to message her and be like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. Just like think it and don't say it. Like you can keep your mouth shut.
And for me, it goes back to like how I live my life is I used to be one of those reactive people. Like I text my best friend or I'll be on the phone with my best friend and I'll be like, oh my God, I just got someone slid into my DMs and is pitching me a weight loss pill or is pitching me something that grows my hair back. Pro tip, gonna burst the bubble here. that there's no such thing on the planet that's going to grow your hair back magically. If there was, we'd all have hair. Like there's products out there that specifically come after alopecians, and I won't get into it, but it's like those people slide into my DMs all the time. They hunt us down because we are their target market. But it's like the product doesn't fucking work. If it did, we'd all have hair and our doctors would be giving prescriptions for it, right? Like it
sorry, your MLM
work.
Karen is not the cure for alopecia.
Right. And so, right. Yeah. Newsflash. But for me, like I get those DMs and I get people who slide into my inbox and stuff and pitch me these things out of caring for me, quote unquote. But I used to be one of those people that'd be reactive and I'd be like, there's nothing wrong with me. How dare you slide into my DMs, blah, 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 blah. And I get so angry. And now I really give grace and I just write back, no, I'm not interested. I'm perfectly healthy. Please do some more research on alopecia. Thank you. Have a great day. If it's a weight loss one, I usually just ignore it. If they keep sliding in, I bless and block. I just don't even give an excuse or a reason or anything anymore to have that invited in my life. And I think it's just because of the fact that I'm not reactive anymore. Right. And I talk to my best friend on the phone and sometimes I have these things come up and I'm like, there's a trigger in it, for me. And I think to myself, okay, I have to figure out what this fucking trigger is because why is this happening? And then I talk to my best friend and she's like, so what did you do? What did you write back? And I'll be like, oh, I just blessed and blocked them. And she's like, oh my God, I would have tore a strip off them. Like, man, you're fucking strong. And I'm, don't live that way anymore, right?
Didn't we talk about that recently? I'll do that sometimes when things really rile me on social media. It doesn't even have to directly be to me. And I'll literally type out this great big long response and then I can delete it and I can move on because I feel like I still like kind of somehow subliminally got my message out into the world. The world knows that that's how I feel about it. And I don't actually need to engage in the behavior because it's not going anywhere. Like, let's be honest. It's just going to be a waste of energy and time.
Yes. And I would rather lead my life by example and have that person stay on if that person wants to stay on my social media, great. Stay on my social media. You can watch me from afar, kick fucking ass at life. And I hope that maybe I would teach you something in something of my posts or whatever. And hopefully I'm not out to change people's minds. I'm just, I, like I've said, I live my life from a place that's of intention and kindness and love. And if none of us can control how other people show up in our lives. We can only control how we show up in our own life. And so I've really taken out how much weight that I give other people's opinions on me and stuff. And I really put more weight and emphasis on how much I value my own self. And when people come at me, I just remind myself in the moment, like hurt people. And typically if something I do triggers somebody, it's not a me problem and it's not a problem at all. It's just that person has something there that's evoking like there's emotion there that they need to do their own work, but I can't be that person to save everybody, right? Like if I trigger you, please start the own work that you need to do on yourself. I can't do it for you.
Sometimes you'll show up in their world for that reason too, right? Like people come into your life that make you work on certain aspects that you need to improve it. And that goes for social media too, right?
100%.
So I think it's just really important that I think the key component that we really wanted to drive home today was that like the body positivity movement needs to land in the middle of the two extremes. That it's okay to have your own journey. Just put your head down and do your own work. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing, what anybody else is saying. And then the same thing goes for you when you're out in the world. Like don't insert yourself into other people's lives unnecessarily. If they want your input and your opinion, they'll ask you for it.
100%.
So just don't place that shame and don't feel that shame. Do your own thing and let other people do their own thing.
Yeah. And I have to echo that. Like, I think that as long as you are taking care of yourself, it doesn't have to be extreme means by any means. Like I said before, I do my 15 to half an hour workout a couple days a week, with my little 8-pound dumbbells, and I drink my water and I try and choose a salad more than I choose a cheeseburger. Fuck, I had a cheeseburger for dinner last night. Like there's no shame here, right? But it's also the mental, it's also the mental health aspect, right? Like you just, as long as you're taking care of yourself and you're doing the best that you can, I think that is more than enough. It's just, like I said, I wish that there was no such thing as the body positivity movement. I think I wish that that we had a society where we lifted each other up more, and that more people would rise to that level, that they showed up in their lives to lift each other up more than making the comments and being reactive and, having an opinion on other people's bodies, because that is probably one of the most hurtful things anybody can do to someone else, is have an opinion about the assumption that they have based on their body, because it can be so wrong. And I get that. I get it all the time. Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it's like, so much of it's shit that we can't control. I can't control. I've been bugged for being short. Fuck. I'd love to be taller, people. Amanda. My God, I would love to be taller. Right? I've been bugged for my freckles. And it's like, okay, well, I don't get to choose my skin pigment.
No.
Right? It's the same as if you're a different race. Your hair, well, you can choose your hair color now, but
you can.
I can. You can choose your eyebrow hair color.
I could do that, or I could choose my head tattoo.
I've always been curious about that. That might have to be a conversation one day. I've always wondered why you have like eyebrows and eyelashes, and only the hair up here decided to like evict itself.
Caterpillars. I call them my caterpillars, my eyebrows, and I cry anytime I ever have to go get them waxed, because I'm like, I fucking grew those, and now I'm paying so much.
This is all I got. See, and then I got to draw eyebrows on because mine are like fucking invisible. So like we got reverse problems apparently.
Right. Oh, we'll totally do an episode all about like alopecia and the different way, because that's another thing, right? Like that ties into
education.
My self-growth, is educating the public on what alopecia is, and just not having that assumption that because someone's bald they have cancer, but really diving into like the mental health aspect of that, because physically we're fine. There's nothing wrong with me. It's the mental game that has everything to do with it, because it goes back into the body positivity thing, right? Like how you look is, everything, and it's just bullshit. And I think that's why I'm so passionate, and I get so feisty and so fired up when I talk about the body positivity movement, because when we judge people on their outside appearances, we're doing such a disservice to the human being that lives in that meat suit, because we are so fucking amazing the way that we are. And like I said before, if I never lose a pound in my life, that's fine. It doesn't make me any less valuable than a skinny person or a bigger person. Like how much our gravitational pull, how big that number is or how small that number is on the scale, doesn't fucking matter. Right. It doesn't. It really is the hard work and the inside work that counts. So it's, no shame here, friends. No shame here. We just,
that's right.
We just
be a nice human, be nice to everybody. And if you got something shitty to say, just shut your fucking mouth before you even say it. There really shouldn't be any more to it than that, right? Yeah. Well, it's true. Back to Bambi. We all watch Bambi, right? If you don't have something nice to say, then don't say anything at all. Type it out and then delete it. You said it. Good enough.
Yes. Let it go. Do the hard work. Why does it trigger you? There's information there, and it's not information that's bad. It's information. It's an opportunity for growth, which I think is the most beautiful thing. Our triggers are such amazing opportunities to grow. And when we can realize, and it makes us better humans. Like it just makes us better how we show up in the world for each other. And I just think I think that no matter what, we're all doing our best, and we just have to be more aware. That's all, of how our words really affect people, because they do. And I hope that when you think about yourself and you look in the mirror and you see yourself, like, you need to treat yourself the way that you would treat your best friend. And you need to really start. I mean, I think that that's part of how my self-love journey really started, was just starting to begin to talk to myself the way that I would talk to my best friend. And that is the same way as, going out into the world and being a nice human. Talk to the people around you, even if they're strangers, the way that you talk to your best friend.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
like,
and I think
it's so important.
I think that's the piece of the body. God, why can we not say that?
I know we're having issues
positivity.
Today.
That's the piece of that movement that is really going to get lost with this like negative connotation it's getting with being too far one direction or the other, is that like at the core of it, it's loving yourself where you're at, which is very, very important in order to start any sort of self-love journey. You do need to love yourself, or you're not, like, when you're telling yourself all the things you're terrible at and all the bad decisions that you've made, you're never going to be able to make change. You're in the totally wrong state of mind in order to reinforce positive change. So that part of the movement is the part that I fully agree with and fully condone. There is nothing wrong with loving yourself, whether you're tiny, you're huge, you're whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. You can accept the body. Well, you have to, because that's the body that you're in.
Love grows love.
Yes. And if you want to if you want to start a journey of self-love and improve whatever your physical being is and your mental being and your spiritual being, it starts there. And that's the core of that movement, but it's getting lost with the shame that's getting attached to it to both sides. So I think that's what we want to separate is don't shame anybody anywhere on either side of the pendulum,
including yourself.
Yeah. And start with that self-love, like take that piece out of that movement because that piece of it is good, and probably leave the rest of it.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Yep. Talk to yourself the way that you would talk to your best friend, and really just start small, right? Is the biggest thing. It's small steps, climb mountains. I mean, the two of us have, the two of us started.
We've climbed a few.
We've climbed a couple. I've jumped off a few. I mean, we're doing this.
Yes.
We don't know what the fuck we're doing, but
no.
You know what? Sometimes the best way to learn a new thing is just to hit record and figure out how to build a plane on the way down.
But hey, I think we're doing okay, because so far the reviews are starting to come in and everything's good. So we really appreciate everybody that's listening and downloading and sharing, and please continue to do so and leave us reviews and follow us on all the socials, and check us out on YouTube if you want to see Vanessa's beautiful Cadbury egg head and my purple hair.
I tell you, I've never wished for hair. Well, I shouldn't say that. When I was a kid, I did wish to have my hair grow back, but I've never wished to have hair in my adult life. But seeing your purple hair, I'm like, I have a little bit of hair envy. I have to tell you.
I got lots. I'll just drop it over your head. We'll be good.
I have semi-permanent hair dye for my kids for Halloween. Maybe I'll have to go do my eyebrows and we'll do like a surprise morning.
That'd be fun.
Why not? Yep. It's only hair, right?
Why not? That's right.
I have had dreams where I woke up in my dream and I've had a full head of hair and I cry.
Could you imagine?
And I shave it off because it's just
Could you imagine?
Yeah. If I woke up tomorrow morning with hair, I would probably
it would probably annoy the shit out of you because it is a lot of work.
When I wear wigs, when I used to wear wigs, like the feeling now, if I do a speaking engagement, I wear my wig just for the sole purpose of the speaking engagement. If I wear a wig, I cannot stand. Oh, even the thought of it right now is making me like, I'm instant sweating. The feeling of hair on my neck. Whoa, I can't do it. I can't.
It's annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
And it gets greasy and it's so much work to wash, and then you got to blow dry it and straighten it. And it's like,
yeah. I'm so glad I did the work to let go of the value that I had over my hair, because
some days you bald people got it made.
Oh man. Some days I wake up and I'm like, I don't have to like blow dry my hair and style it. My head is dry when I walk out of the shower. Like, it's fucking amazing.
It's not fair, Vanessa.
I love it. Okay, friends, thank you so much for spending the last hour with us. Man, an hour goes by so fast. It's crazy. Like Amanda said, if you would be so amazing to leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify, we would be so grateful. You can find the two of us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If you'd like to connect with us there, please do. And if you have any questions, you can reach out on our email address listed below. But otherwise, we will see you guys in a week, next Monday.
That's right.
Yay! Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon.
Bye.